How it started, and we were always, willing to sing different types of music anyway. So it wasn't a big stretch for us. So to sing something different, we went all into rock and roll. We went all into pop and R&B, and that's how Energy happened.
Fire. Bruce Springsteen. Whole new era of Pointer Sisters. But what happened when you went to Australia during this time?
Actually, that was during the time we had just finished Priority.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
The next album.
Well, like I said, we like to do all kinds of different music, so we went off into this rock and roll vein and had a rock and roll band, and the people in Australia, they hadn't quite caught up yet. They were still back in the vintage days and the jazz days, and so they had booked us in these supper clubs at hotels in the Hiltons and nice little people with white tablecloths, and they were sitting and waiting for us. Child, we came out slithering all on the floor. We was crawling on the floor, falling down on our knees, t-shirts and spandex jeans
and suspenders.
And suspenders, and it was really, we thought it was hilarious. And we even thought it was hilarious that they were pissed off. They were really, really pissed off at us. We were just, the madder they got, the funnier it was to us. We just go out there and just rock and roll, and we just had a fun time with the band.
Yeah. Well, the 1980s shortly followed thereafter, and that's a whole other panel discussion about the but it all started with gradual, reestablishing.
Yeah, that was it right there. And then Richard was so notorious. We were at a rehearsal, and Richard was notorious for this. He'd walk in and go, "Oh, I like the way you girls look today. Let's do an album cover."
That's a good impression.
And you think how we looking? Like, really, Richard? Album cover today. No makeup, no hair, no lashes, no shit. Really. And that is it.
Now, while my Pointer Sisters were doing Priority, Sister Sledge was doing We Are Family.
Hey!
There is not a soul in this audience can't sing We Are Family or has not sung We Are Family to your voice, Kathy. You are the voice of We Are Family. And you introduced a classic, a modern classic that I would love to know, and I think all of us would love to know, how did working with Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards and the Chic organization even manifest after coming from the Philadelphia sound and all these different producers? How did you get involved with Chic?
Well, that's an interesting story. We had success in other countries, but never really domestically, not at home. And so we were this obscure group on a long list of groups. And Nile and Bernard had success with Norma Jean.
Alpha, and
Alpha.
we're here, Norma Jean and Alpha Anderson.
Are they
We're in the audience. Yes. Norma Jean, right? Alpha Anderson.
Alpha. Norma?
Yeah, stand up.
Wow.
Stand up. Norma.
Oh, there's
Stand
Norma
up.
Jean.
Alpha Anderson.
Wow.
And they sing background on We Are Family.
Oh my, that's my sisters.
Wow.
Those are my new sisters. It's interesting because, yes, that is the Chic sound, those voices between Luther and Norma and Alpha and Lucy. And, we were on a long list, and they had all this success with Chic, and the record company asked them, "Okay, we really, you owe us. We want you to do," I think it was Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Because we're ready to go for this. And they're like, no. We do the Rolling Stones, and it's a huge hit. People will say it's going to be a hit anyway. Give us somebody that's like obscure and no one knows. And that would be us. And we were on the list. And then Jerry Greenberg at the time started describing us. He said, "You got to meet these girls. They're family. When they come up to the record company, when they walk on by, they flock together like birds of a feather." So Nile and Bernard actually literally took out pens. They started writing down, and that is really a portrait of who we, sisters, family. So that really was true.
How is it working with them as producers versus other producers? Because they were pretty notorious for
Oh
having
my
a certain
gosh, it
style.
was scary. You know what you guys know. Well, you know, they would not allow you to hear anything until it was time to record it. We couldn't. So, we weren't used to that. We went to hear it and learn it and practice it. And now I get it because they believed in spontaneity. And with family, they did teach me the verses as we went along, And you know how Bernard would do. He'd give you one line. The greatest dancer was line by line. One night in the disco. One night in the disco. Oh, the outskirts of Frisco. The outskirts of Frisco. It was line by line. Family, the same thing. But the ad-lib, I'm proud to say the ad-lib.
On We Are Family.
On We Are Family was done in one take.
Yes.
It was,
I know it.
and to this day, now I get it. I think it was, I understand why they didn't want you to hear it, because they wanted that spontaneity. And it was very different recording that way, and I would always ask Niall, is it gonna, stupid questions, is it gonna be a hit? Yeah, just trust me, baby. And I was just that's so Niall. But anyway, I drove him crazy. Because our records were never played in the United States.
Wow.
Our other records, they were other places. So I just didn't, and I remember when Greatest Dancer came out, it was the first thing that woke me up on the radio that day for school. And I was like, they're playing our record here in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Greatest Dancer, and of course the line, Halston, Gucci, Fiorucci. You were doing brands in your songs before.
Yeah, we
before
should have known that
anybody-
then.
That's right. But really reflecting the culture of that time, the fashion of that time, and certainly this album shows that's the classic.
Now that was my sister Debbie's idea to do the whole. She's an artist, and she's been told she's an amazing artist. They say that she paints like a Michelangelo. Debbie is amazing. At the Tyler School of Art, Temple University, the dean said she's the greatest fine art student to ever walk through their doors. So Debbie had this idea of just the braids. And that says we are family in a whole other way. And
It's beautiful. So at this point, you were older than when you were in Zaire, obviously.
And that was my first day when I got braces. And
Yeah.
the doctor said, the one on the top, close your mouth. So this picture means so totally different to me than
I think you made braces hip. Yeah. But how did you feel sort of wearing just this couture now at this point?
It was interesting because Niall and Bernard actually introduced us to, especially Fiorucci. It did take me like 10 minutes to learn how to say Fiorucci. But it did introduce us to a whole new style. And because of that, there was a shop in LA called Strip Thrills. Do you remember Strip Thrills? This is Strip Thrills. We gave this woman so much business. But that was that whole look, the Sledge look. We would always wear lots of flowing things because we danced a lot. And lots of spandex because we had to be able to move. But that was, I guess, a fashion statement, and we didn't even realize it. We were actually wearing things that were comfortable for us that gave us movement.
I'd love to bring the conversation to the present day. You mentioned your new sisters in the audience.
Oh, yeah.
Norma Jean and Alpha, you have a new single with them, don't
do.
you? Called Get On Up.
Get On Up. It's such amazing music. I remember having a conversation, they just signed it. We all have a major label out of Ibiza, EDM, which is really dance, And I remember saying to the owner of the company, their voices are just as recognizable as Niall's guitar. We know these songs, we know these voices to every song, every hit. And so, of course, they came in and they were signed to the label, and I was excited enough to write the song with them and for them. It's called Get On Up.
Yes,
And
look for it. Next step, Kathy Sledge and Arista Freaks. And
it's coming out
Yeah.
April the 2nd.
April the 2nd, that's right. What I'd like to do now is we'll be having a Q&A shortly, so if you have a question, please line up behind the microphone over there, okay? This is the last question for the evening that I'm going to ask.
Okay.
One question.
But the question that I'd like to ask is just how your individual legacies, or with your sisters or with your roommates, how does that resonate now for you?